Hello, everybody. It is Sunday evening, and Trusty is here with his special guest, Katie from Vintage and Vinyl, and no marshmallows in sight. And if you don't know what that refers to, you missed Katie last night. Katie hosted on her channel, Vintage and Vinyl, an ice cream social that had a fundraiser for the puppies at Just One More Dachshund Rescue. And she had several of us on her channel, and at the end, for some reason that I still have yet to master, the winning team and the losing team both participated in the losing team activity of Chubby Bunny, which I had never even heard of, yet I was suddenly partaking in this. And it involved shoving marshmallows in your mouth and just keep putting in until you couldn't say Chubby Bunny again. Some people didn't last very long.
I did not. I was out very early.
And I held my own toe-to-toe against Peterson. Peterson, though, pulled ahead. She won, so she gets to claim she is the biggest mouth of all of us, which is quite a claim when dealing with some of the people because, Vinny was there. So we had pretty big mouths, but we had a lot of fun. And if you missed it last night, hop onto Katie's channel, Vintage and Vinyl, for the replay. We played Pictionary first. But if you just want to see the Chubby Bunny, you can fast forward to the end. That was probably like the last 15 minutes or so. So it was, yes, Peterson, you gotta be careful when you win against me. I will be passive aggressive in shaming you till the end of time. So, but we will just still point out our team won. We won. We should never have participated in Chubby Bunny. So winning team, Katie, me, and my daughter, the Huckster Helper. We won Pictionary by 3 points, and we had some great ideas for some merch because the losing guesses were hilarious. So
I think we've got some new merch coming.
Yeah, so I think what were the losing drawings were from our team. We didn't get tweezers.
Tweezers, yeah, that one was on me. I was terrible at drawing.
Yeah, but my daughter and I were guessing, and we couldn't figure it out. I was very confident that you had drawn a straight razor. So, and then on the other team, they fell out on stir.
It was stir. Yes, Vinny had stir, but he was drawing noodles and
a ladle, and then what appeared to be a pot rack.
Yeah,
that was actually ended up being the stirring motion. So they stir, pet store. Oh, and dagger. Stir, pet store, and dagger were the three that they fell on. So we did jump into the lead, so we ended up winning that. But it was a lot of fun, and I don't know if you'll be doing that again, but it was kind of a special occasion because Miss Pam was traveling or out of town or something. So
yeah. Pam was on the world's longest yard sale, so she
that's right.
So I thought it would be fun to do something, to kind of fill that slot. And we did Pictionary. So I think we'll have to do another ice cream social again at some point because that was just a lot of fun.
And I agree to you, Faye. Yeah, it was one of those, like, after you were told it was tweezers, that it's like, oh, okay. But
I will say, in my defense, trying to hold the whiteboard and draw upside down was really hard. Next time I'm getting a stand for the whiteboard.
Yeah, we all kind of learned as we were, okay, what? Nah.
No.
Sort of, no. You're joking, Peterson, but yes, we did. With my daughter and I were on the same team, so I think there was a little connection there. But I was very satisfied that people were also guessing in the chat, so it wasn't just she drew a line and I'm like the Eiffel Tower. So we seem to get it. But Peter says she talks a lot, but does not have a big mouth. That's quite all right. Oh, and Dawn's here. Say hey, Dawn. So
hey,
yes.
Dawn said hello to you earlier. She called you Mr. Marshmallow.
Oh, I do not need to take that one. That bag of marshmallows went into the garbage right after that. Over. I'm like, nope, I'm never putting these in anything else. And now the bag's open. They're going to go stale quickly anyway. I do not want them. They went straight into the garbage. So
I have to say, I have a marshmallow affinity, so I've been eating my marshmallows.
Never been a huge fan of them anyway, which, again, my motivation then was like, well, then I'm not going to lose, because if I don't lose, I won't have to do Chubby Bunny and I won't have to put those stupid marshmallows in my mouth. And then I felt like I was in high school again. It was like peer pressure, and everybody ended up doing Chubby Bunny. So I had to do Chubby Bunny, and I caved to my peer pressure. And it was fun. It was silly. It was disgusting.
Yeah, when you have that many marshmallows in your mouth, it's not a good time.
No. And then, I mean, you can watch the video and you'll see it. You drool more than you would normally want to, and that drool is mixed with sugar. So basically, you're pouring syrup all over your face and the towel, and in my beard. There you go.
Then you have that.
Summed it up. Yeah, it was gross.
And when you get enough marshmallows and that sugar lingers in your mouth, I mean, I was tasting it all night.
Oh, yeah. And I tried to take a drink afterwards, but then everything was tainted with that marshmallow taste. Like,
But it was worth it. It was for the dogs. They're going to get some nice puppuccinos.
So Kelly was multitasking at the restaurant last night. So she says she was afraid they were going to throw them out because they were laughing so hard. So yes, it was it absolutely. Cheryl, it was yucky. So anyway, so what? So Soul Nate's asking Dawn if she's at 19 now.
She says, "Great weekend. Two pups
adopted. Fantastic.
Yay, Dawn."
I spent the afternoon with helping a friend set up her first eBay store, and she has a 16-year-old long-haired dachshund, and so Homer just kind of sat there and stared at me, sort of, because he can't see very well. Wanted to be petted every once in a while, but I'm like, okay, one 16-year-old versus 15 16-year-olds, but it was fun. Okay, so she's at 18 dachshunds right now.
Wow, Dawn, amazing work.
So the winners of the evening, so Katie, my daughter, and I, we had money donated to the Dachshund Rescue in order to buy them, because there was an ice cream social, so the pups get puppuccinos. So that was the money that was donated in our name. So, all right. So I appreciate everybody. I've said hi to some people. I apologize, I wasn't really focusing on that. So we got Angela coming in. I don't know, Angela, if you've got the storms passing through you that I've got. So I'm hoping I don't lose my internet, or internet is usually fine if I lose electricity. So hopefully we will be good. But storms they are coming. We got the UK represented. Miss Damn Jewelry must be have some insomnia tonight, so she's still awake watching us.
Hey, Dolores.
We appreciate you being there. So she said it's already done. So we had a little bit of rain. I actually have thunder. Like there are actually storms.
We had all of that this afternoon.
Oh, really?
It was pouring pockets outside. We
had a little bit of sprinkling, and it's kind of dark right now, but I can hear the rumbling. So I'm not sure how much heavier it's supposed to get. So got you said hi to Kelly. We got Michelle Newton's in the house. Got Leanne is here. So thanks for joining us. And let's see, you said hi to Dawn. Michelle Decker, another, to see if there's storms coming through her area. I was actually just down your way today, did an estate sale pick down in your town, Michelle. Didn't think about reaching out to you while I was down there, but I was only down there for like half an hour. I was picking stuff up. We got Cheryl coming in from Canada, and of course we got Nate coming in from New Zealand. Lisa's in the house.
Hey guys.
And we've got Deb Sherman is in the house, and said hi to Michelle. Lisa Holbrook, hi to Tia Fane. Got Tim coming in from Canada. Yes, Amelia, as she was growing up, Amelia seemed to drift between looking like her mother and looking like me. But there are definitely parts, and some people saw it last night. There are definitely parts where she is definitely my child.
Yep.
We definitely have the same sense of humor. We definitely work on the same wavelength. So that was what Michelle was getting annoyed about. And yes, we definitely have a little bit of same appearance. Got some more Debbie coming in from Chicago. So our storms are coming her way. Chicago lady, also Jeannie's in the house. Got Sam coming in from New Hampshire. And Sam will be part of my chat next week, because he will be doing a deep dive, because Sam is the proud owner of Dining at Sea on Instagram, and he will be doing a deep dive on his travel menu collection. And I don't think he was aware of it until I told him, but he is solely responsible for my menu collection because I discovered him during COVID. I absolutely fell in love with the stuff that he was showing. And so I started building my own collection. So he will be showing some of the highlights of his, which is far superior to mine, but that will be next week.
I'm so looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's such a great collection, some great art. Let's see. We've got Pat Doodles in the house, so thanks for joining us.
Pat, welcome.
And let's see if hopefully I didn't miss anybody, but I'm like trying to scroll really quick because tonight, we got Brian Hance coming in from Chicagoland. So we got Storms heading his way too. Oh, we got Finland is represented. We're just going all international. We were at the International House of Pancakes, so we got Milia also not going to bed tonight. So thanks for joining us. Anyway, so tonight's we're kind of like loose. This is one of the weird things that a few things happened along the way, and I decided, much to Katie's surprise. Let's see. So Kelly's saying. Yeah, so for those who did not join this chat last night, so my daughter, the Huckster Helper, her real name is Amelia, but because I was sensitive to her on YouTube, we just were calling her the Huckster Helper. She was off at college. She was in Germany. She now graduated. She's now off to grad school. And so this was the last weekend I was going to spend with her before she went to grad school. And Katie had asked me to participate in the fundraiser. And I'm like, I wanted to do it, but I didn't want to not spend time with my daughter. So Katie was generous enough to allow Amelia to join us. So people might have heard her voice, and a lot of people were familiar with her about a year ago when she first came back from Germany. It was a very, very bitter individual. She was doing the chats for my sales. And so people liked when the funny jokes and stuff she'd put in the sale. So she hadn't been on screen a lot. And so she did last night. So it was fun. And so I'm glad, and everyone is very kind to her. So I was very appreciative.
Well, it was wonderful having Amelia on screen because she has been so great in your chats during the sales.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll still have her sometimes in the chats. She'll be on the East Coast, but a lot of you are all over the country. So she could participate. I just want to be sensitive. She's got her own life. She's got her own schedule. So, but she was available last night and she joined in. So we got Mary also coming in from New York State. So hello to Mary.
Hi, Mary.
All right, I think I'm caught up. So anyway, kind of a combination of things. Yes, Louis has something to say.
Yeah, Louis going a little nuts because we're having some weather and the sprinklers are about to go off and she's just having a day of barking.
So Katie, and I don't even remember really the first time it came up. I literally have no recollection, but it was coming up multiple times. Typically when Katie would buy something that was some piece of ephemera, she would talk about her Ephemera Bowl. And the first time she mentioned it, I'm like, you have a what? And so it was just one of those, it was like this concept that she had an Ephemera Bowl, and she would just buy a variety of things. And we joke about it sometimes, like, oh, I'm going to add another thing to the Ephemera Bowl. But I don't know if anyone had seen it. So I'm not sure if you had shared it on any of your chats. You probably did, but I had not really seen pictures of it. And so what ended up happening was I was at I can't remember exactly where I ended up getting this, but I found a crystal bowl that has the globe etched into it. So it's not fully circular. So it's not really a globe. It just has Africa, Asia, and Europe on one side, and then on the full opposite side, North and South America. And then it kind of ribs on the side. It's very heavy. So I do believe it's lead crystal. I do not know who made it. I have not, researched that. I've not Google lensed it or anything. But it's a beautiful bowl. And the minute I bought it, or the minute I saw it, I'm like, I'm buying that, and I am building my own Ephemera Bowl. So if I'm going to build an Ephemera Bowl, who do I call? Not Ghostbusters. I call Katie, the Ephemera Bowl expert. Oh, wait. So New Zealand wants to know if they're on the map. I am sure you're.
Oh, that's a good question, Nate.
Australia isn't even on the map.
Oh, man. That's
just kind of stopped. We kind of got into the confusion of the Philippines, and then they just kind of gave up. So we only have 5 continents. So yes, New Zealand does get missed off of a lot of maps. We'll just feel better. Australia pretty much got shafted this time around too. So we won't be using this to teach geography to the inner city. So I just have a bowl that I think is pretty. And I have, if for those who've seen it, I have kind of a travel theme in my bedroom. I've got international money. I've got postcards. I've got a globe collection. I just have stuff from travel. So I'm going to put this in that room. And so now I have to figure out what I want to put into it. So we're just going to kind of hang out tonight, just have some fun. I can't replicate, obviously, what Katie does because hers is a unique bowl, but I do want to find out what she did and more like how it's put together, because I will have her show it. I'm not sure if you can lift it or how you're going to do this, or I can show the picture that you sent of it. It is so pristinely organized. It's like a museum piece that I'm not sure how it's all in there. So this is kind of how we're going to start out. So we've got Katie's showing us her Ephemera Bowl. Now, so right off the bat, I'm going to have some problems because hers flares at the top and mine actually wraps back in at the top. So hers is designed to kind of do the fanning thing that she's got going on there. So, but are they attached to each other? Are there like frogs in there? Like, how are you holding all that stuff?
So I just started building this up basically by getting a bowl, and then I stick things in there. None of this is pinned together or glued together. It's just put in here. Now, what I did do is I got this wonderful, let me set this down.
I don't mean to have you like destroy your work, but yeah. So
no, that's okay. I got this wonderful record coasters from Patrick, and I have several of the coasters already out on my counter, and then the rest are in here. And this is great because it kind of lifts this up a little bit. So you can see without this how flat it lays back. So what I did was I just stuck this in here to add a little bit of lift. And then I started with my biggest things in the back. So the first thing that I've got in the back is this big Coca-Cola Refreshing Arrangements, Homes and Flowers. It is 1942 for the Coca-Cola Company. And it features advertisements of Coca-Cola with flowers. It's got some really cool graphics in it. But I started out with this because this was my largest piece. And then I just stuck it in the back.
And I was just going to ask, so you said you started with that one. Now, did you already have an entire stack of ephemera, or did this grow over time? Or did you buy specific things like, okay, now I need something short, or now how did it build up? Was it instant, or did it build up over time?
It's built up over time. In fact, the picture that Patrick's using is not what you're seeing here today. It's similar, but I've added quite a few more pieces to this. I started out with a stack of ephemera, mainly Coca-Cola ephemera that I had. And then I'm going to
show the picture really quick. I'm going to, let's see, I'm not sure how, okay, we're going to share the screen again. I'm not sure if you hold up yours, I will hold up the photo so you can kind of do a compare and contrast. So I see the head of the woman. I see the little fish cards. Oh, okay. Well, mine actually has a red piece that seems to be missing in yours. But yeah, you definitely have some extra.
I've added to it. Now the red.
Yeah, so yours it seems to have gone wider. So
the red piece is in the back here.
Okay.
So I kind of move things around as I do it. And I just find things that I really like, and I just stick them in this bowl. And really, it started because I had the Master Berry Bowl to my great-grandmother's set, and I had it on my table, and I thought, this is too pretty to just have here. There needs to be a purpose. I need to use it because she would want me to use it. And I thought, well, I'm not having any parties right now. What can I do with it? And I thought, why don't I just put some of my favorite ephemera in it? And that's really how it started. I had a big stack of Coca-Cola ephemera because I've been collecting Coca-Cola advertisements and things for many years now. And then I just started finding things I liked that I found either at the sales or as package toppers that people would send me. Patrick sent me this in the mystery box, the thumbs up for trunk down elephant cards, which I just thought were so fun. And I bought these from Joni at Vintagerous, these cigarette fish cards. Hey, Laura, Mary Beth. And this is a fish they have in New Zealand. I actually sent this to Nate. The streakered gunnard. So I've just found all these fun little things and just kind of put them in here. This was one of the first pieces I added because I've had this for a while. This is a Coca-Cola score pad, and this is from, I want to say the 40s. Yeah, 1942. And it's just a really, really cool score pad that you would have gotten as a giveaway from the bottling plants. And it's got some cool graphics in it, unused. So I started with that too, and just sort of started adding things. Really, all of this is just stacked in here, not glued. So you can kind of move it around. And I do that from time to time. I might pull one thing that I want to see a little bit more, pull it up or shove it down to create different layers and heights. Really what you're doing is just trying to create layers of things, you know? So you can just sort of move things around. And
now, do you have, other than everything being ephemera or being paper, do you have a specific theme that's going on? You had a lot of Coca-Cola stuff, but you then also had other stuff. So are you trying to maintain a specific theme in it?
No, for me, it's just things that make me happy that I like. So for example, I have a lot of Coca-Cola pieces, but I also have this. This was my great-grandfather started a TV station in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. It was the world's tallest tower when they built the structure. You can see here it's taller than the Empire State Building. And this was the little brochure they had when the tower opened. And I just think this is so cool to actually have this map of the TV tower that my great-grandfather Oscar built all from scratch. It was one of the first radio stations in Southeast Missouri. And so I included special things like that. I even have a cool RCA piece here. So this is unrelated to Coca-Cola, but it's a Pan America RCA with the cool lightning bolt graphic. And I've also added maps. I love, love, love maps. And so here is a couple of maps that I've picked up. This one is Missouri. So we've got a Missouri Standard map, New York City map, Texaco. I got this one from Patrick, the cool travel guy with the little cars. So I just kind of stick things in that I like. Here's some Dill's pipe cleaners. It's for an advertisement for Dill's pocket cigarettes. And you've got the pipe cleaner still inside, but it's kind of ephemera and paper, so it goes in here. I've even added some family photos. Here is my grandfather, Jem, and then here's his brother, Bob, and my great-grandmother. So I've added all kinds of fun little things in here that are just tucked away. This is probably the coolest piece that's in the Ephemera Bowl. And this is an American can company, seamless and pierced boxes, hinge slip covers, sliding guide. So this is something that you would have got, I believe this is 1912, if I remember correctly, but it's a catalog for boxes from the American Can Company. And they've got all the boxes and then the prices in which you could have bought the boxes. And they even have a really cool typewriter ribbon tin in here. So there's all kinds of neat ephemera that's in this. And I just thought that this was so cool. So I had to add it to my little ephemera bowl. So I just find things I like. That's the key. Start with things that you like. You
so
can
Buttons and Acorn has a question that's related to something that I had wanted to ask too. So she's asking if you do a bowl for Christmas with vintage cards and bits and bobs tucked in, do you change this out as a whole, or is it just as you find something new that you want to put in there? If something else, if it doesn't fit, you have to take something else out. Like, do you actually have a theme to rotate it, or is it just a general bowl?
No, this is just a general bowl. You certainly could do something fun for Christmas if you want to do like all Christmas advertisements. Actually, that's a great idea because I do have quite a few Christmas Coca-Cola Santa advertisements that would be great, but I just keep adding to it. And then if there's something that doesn't fit, I kind of rearrange it and just play with the pieces. You know, it kind of reminds me of hairstyling. This is going to sound weird, but run with it. When you do hairstyling, you know, and you put in the rough paste and you got to kind of pick a little hair here and pick a little hair there and fluff it up and get it just so. That's kind of what I do with the bowl. And I just put in pieces and just sort of like pull it up a little bit or tuck it over or do this and just see how that looks. And it's kind of fun and you create something unique.
And is it still in the middle of the table, or because it seems like you've created something that is directional? So it clearly has a front and it clearly has a back. So how do you display it?
So I have a big spool table in the center of my living room that I salvaged off the side of the road. I've made it into my coffee table. And in the middle, I have a stack of books with my great-grandfather's glasses and an old cigar box. And then on the other side, I have a couple of advertising tins. And then on the other side, I have this ephemera bowl. And I just sort of angle it. I put it at a side and just sort of angle it. And my hope is that when guests are able to come back in my house again, they're just interested. It's something that's kind of a feast for the eyes. You come in and you see it and you're like, what is that? And then
will you let them touch it?
Yeah.
I'd chop their hand off. I'd be like, do you know how long it took me to put that together? Don't touch that map.
It does take a while to get it exactly so. And sometimes I will admit I go by and I'll say, ooh, that slid down a little bit, or I'll notice something isn't so, and I just go back and adjust it.
Now, one of the questions, or I guess our question, has Louie ever bothered it?
No, Louie's been very good. She has not bothered it. I've not had trouble with her trying to eat anything. Of course, though, she has eaten a girly candle and a shiny bright and a whole bunch of other things that she managed to get. But I've been really lucky. She's been very good with this.
Do you find her plotting, trying to figure out how to get up onto the spool table, or do you think she just has no interest in paper?
Well, I have found her trying to get up on the spool table. That is how she ate wasabi. I was having dinner and she jumped up there because she can jump. You wouldn't think a little pug could jump, but she jumped up there and ate all of the sushi and the wasabi in one fell swoop, and unfortunately got very sick, but was okay. But that was something out of my control. But I've pushed it away enough now from the couch where I don't think she could jump onto it.
Okay. So while you were organized, or while you were explaining how it was organized, I was desperately trying to figure out. So what I had done in preparation for this is, so I had the bowl. For those of you who joined late, I bought a bowl right out of the gate. I've messed up because my bowl does not flare nicely like Katie's. So everyone, lesson learned, look for the right bowl. So I found a bowl, but because mine does curve up, it also means that the opening at the top is actually relatively small. So I'm sitting here. So these are all the things that I had pulled to go into it that don't fit. So the Vienna guidebook, gone. The Hitler punch card, gone. The Vienna secessionist book, gone. And the Vienna guide, gone. Do you see what the theme was possibly going to be? Vienna is now toast. So Vienna's gone because their books are too big. So the only things I literally have left out of everything I pulled, there are 4 items that fit for the back. I want to do what Katie's talking about. So I'm starting in the back and then working forward. So these 2 I think are going to be jettisoned. So this is a German hero sagas and folk tales. This is actually my daughter's. She's more into German than I am. So Vienna doesn't fit. I'm not replacing it with Germany. So there was that. This is the script from the first play I've ever done, or I did as an adult. So when I got into community theater, The Miracle Worker was the first show that I did. So it's my original script from that show. It fits, but it doesn't fit within the theme of the travel room. So I'm trying to decide how specific I want to be. So that's why I was curious how you did yours. So for now, I think it's going to be pushed to the side. And that means the only 2 things that are left just kind of sit on top of each other. I have Colonial Williamsburg official guidebook, one of my favorite, or one of our family's favorite places to go. It's Colonial Williamsburg. So this vintage guidebook. And then one of my favorite magazines, the Connoisseur magazine, is out of the UK. And this is the 1939 issue. So there's all kinds of letters in here about the war and about, conducting business during World War, at the very beginning of World War II. So if I do what Katie says, I can put that in the very back, and basically it has to curl, but it does curl. And then the guidebook can sit in there, but you put something in the back. I may need to put stuff at the bottom to kind of prop it up. So for right now, but then everything else I have is very small. So I've got a lot of postcards. So this is one that the Huckster Helper sent me when she lived in Germany. It's from Cologne, Vienna Hotel. This is the only photograph I grabbed, because most of my photographs, that's me that would have probably been 2000, no, 1998, maybe 1999, in front of the Great Pyramid of Egypt. So in Cairo with a camel. I got a photo. The entire time I thought he was going to like steal my stuff. But so I've got a photo that I have, very international photo. Normally that's in a frame.
Great photo, Patrick.
So the problem with something like that, so then how do you, I guess if you tuck it into the side, like, but because I'm on the bottom, I don't know how to do that so that you'll be able to see it.
So you can use the little pages of something. So I have this 1957 diary. And what I've done here is, you see, I've just used the pages of it to kind of tuck this Coca-Cola playing card in there. So in my bowl, and I've moved it around a little bit, but you can use things like that to kind of tuck things in. And if you get it packed enough, things kind of will stay on their own. Like here's a Coca-Cola bottle sleeve. And this just sort of, it's very lightweight and thin, but I can kind of tuck it in the opening here of this American can company thing and kind of place it there. And it just sort of stays, you know, because I've got a lot in here. Now, if you have small things and you're just starting out, again, using like the page of a book or something will kind of help stack it in there.
So I tried to do that. So I used the pages from the magazine, was tight enough to hold the photo. And then I have this oversized postcard of the Statue of Liberty. So I kind of tucked that between the book and the magazine, starting to cover up the art in the magazine, but we can deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, you will lose some of the graphics on something. So that's where, when I talked about that hair analogy, it is sort of moving things up or down based on what you really want to see the most.
This I picked up actually today, and I picked it up, or no, yesterday. I picked this, yesterday. This one I picked up specifically because it's tall. And I'm like, wait, that'll go in my Ephemera Bowl. So I'm hoping I can kind of put that in at an angle and it sticks out a little bit. So that's there. I want to make sure. So one of my favorite things from my collection, I showed this in one of my own videos. This is one of my passports. In my previous life, I used to travel internationally for my job. It was before, it was 16 years ago. I stopped doing it when my daughter was really little because I was traveling so much. I was gone too much. But at the time I had this, the page, well, first of all, let's just make fun of what I looked like. So this would have been issued, so this was issued in 99. I was traveling so much that I filled the pages, got filled with the stamps and the visas and stuff that I needed to travel. You can see they're numbered. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then you've got page A, B, C. They literally had to put new pages in my passport. I ran out of room in my passport. So when I got my new passport, and some people said that they don't do this anymore, or they were surprised I got it, they punched holes to show that it was canceled, and they sent it back to me. So I've had this. Like, I didn't do anything special to get it, but once I got it back, I remember, like, there's just stuff in here because it was valid through 2009. There is a stamp in here. I was on, it was either the first day or the second day they returned to international air travel. I flew the very first or second day that they allowed international travel. I flew to Brazil. So I have stamps in here dated September 2001. So it's just it's a personal time capsule because I've been to so many different places. I've traveled to 35 different countries. So I've got so many different stamps that it's special. So I want to make sure it does have kind of a place. And so now what I'm running into is it's kind of big on its own. Like, I could put it down here, but I don't know if I can prop it somehow so it's a little bit more prominent. And then I've got a bunch of postcards, which I'm thinking I could tuck those in later. The only other thing I had, and so my bowl is going to be very, very lame compared to yours. I'm going to have
And
bowl.
remember, I've spent time building mine up. You just find.
Well, I want a bowl now.
Too.
Over time. What are you talking about? One of the things that I have, there's two things that I was debating, which I don't think you do. Do you have anything at the bottom? Hey, Harry, do you have anything at the bottom of your bowl?
Yes, I do. Let me show you this on the bottom. So to kind of get the height a little bit in the back that I wanted, even though this bowl does slope, I showed you that I've got this heavy cardboard record thing, but I've also got a couple of just small things that I wanted to save in the bottom. And this is the leather case for my great-grandfather's glasses. And I've kind of put that there, and it adds a little bit of height. So if you look on the side, this kind of, there's a gap. Ooh, and I'm losing something. There's a gap, but I've kind of used those pieces down there to slope things and kind of keep them, at the right height that I want. I've also added some other things down here in the bottom, as you can see, like this book right here, to kind of just add height. So I have added some more books and things inside, and thicker cardboard pieces like this ice book, this ice coupon book from, I want to say this is the 40s too. Yeah, 1940. So there's a lot of cool things like this that are heavy that will add kind of lift and height.
All right. I know Delbert is being Delbert. So my social security number is not on my passport, but my passport number is. So here's a question for people out there, from a serious question. Do I need to go in and edit this video to cover up my passport number? Is that anything special? I don't even know. Because this is an expired passport, so I'm assuming I have a different.
I think you would get a new number, so
yeah, I will compare it to my current one, and as long as the number is different, I don't think it matters. But yes, we don't need ID theft. So if anyone has any thoughts on that, please let me know.
Yes, it's like a coffee table book in a bowl. Exactly, Delbert. That's exactly it.
Absolutely. So somebody was saying that they have money, and that's what I was going to show. Is so the one thing that I have that I want to tuck in, there's two parts of it. So one, I have, this is all international currency from trips that I have taken.
Oh, how cool.
So one of the things that I've started doing is like quality over quantity. I can tell right now, just as I fanned that out, I have 2 identical Turkish lira notes, 100,000 lira each. I don't need both of them. So some of the duplicates that I've had in my collection, I've actually sold in some of my live sales. They're not super valuable. 100,000 lira was probably like a penny. And then Turkish lira doesn't exist anymore because they converted to the euro. But I was trying to decide. So I've got the paper money, and I figure I could either like drape it over the sides, depending on how it looked. But the other thing I have, and I'm not sure if they would be able to show up. First, I'll show what I keep them in. This is a Princess Mary tin. This is a reproduction. These were given out in the middle of World War I to all of the soldiers within the British Empire. And they would get this little brass tin, and inside were a pack of cigarettes, maybe a deck of playing cards, note cards with a pencil so you could send notes home. This is what I was in a show that used, this was a prop. So this was my prop. It still says on the back my character name. But in this, I keep this on my dresser. In this, I keep the coins of all of the places that I've traveled. And so I was thinking I could put that into the bowl, but I don't know if I put it all in the bowl, it might like kind of show, but I'm not sure like if you'd still see it. Where here you get to see it, when it's in the thing, you kind of get to see it. I prop it open so you can see, not that many people go into my bedroom, trust me. But I don't know. What do you think, putting something like that in the bottom, or should I keep it like totally just ephemera?
Well, I think if you set that open in the bottom and left it open a little bit, you could kind of use the money as a weight to maybe tuck some things in around it.
Oh, okay.
And I think that would work really well. It's just experimenting too, just placing things in there and saying, does this work? Nope, it doesn't. Let me take it out. Oh, okay, this works. I like this better. And you can constantly evolve and change this as you go along, which is cool. Like I have a whole bunch of small things like this. This Patrick sent to me. It's the prepaid sales tax coupons from Ohio, which are just awesome. That's in there. I've added a ton of these cool books. This is a daily reminder book. It's got some great graphics in it with writing and everything. I believe, again, this is from the 40s. Yeah, 1944. I have a lot. I love ephemera from the 40s, so I do have a lot of things like that. And then I've also added thicker things. Like this is a really cool Coca-Cola advertising piece from the 50s. Advertising the bottling plant. So when you go visit the bottling plant, this was like your little tour guide. And inside they've got all these cool graphics, like here's the carbonator cooler. And they tell you what that does and how Coke's made. And then on the back, they have advertisements for what you can do with Coke, which is just awesome. So you've got like the car with the people and the soda jerk. So there's a lot of cool graphics and things like these. I've even added this, which is a true flight calculator. I believe Patrick sent me this too. And it's got some cool things on it. But I love the paper sleeve, so that goes in there. I mean, and the nice thing about something like this is it's skinny, and it kind of adds a little bit of height, and it's tall. Let's see. Oh, coupons. These are great too, like little tags. This is the M. Cohen and Sons grocer tags. This is a cool Parker Games graphic. This has some amazing graphics on it. It says games for everybody, every age. I think this is from 1960. And you've got all of these cool graphics. So this is something where you could open it up and have it displayed like that. But I folded it up and put the whole pamphlet in. This came in my Sorry game. I mean, the possibilities are endless. This is Dolly Does It. This is an advertisement for during the war that says, hi, folks, I'm in the service now. And they sent this out, and it's got some amazing graphics on the inside saying, please remember me after the war. So they weren't going to make the golden sponge anymore during the war because they needed the metal. But after the war, they were going to be back. And so I've displayed this side of it because I like this graphic. So a lot of things have multiple sides, and you can choose what you want to display. This is cool. This came from Fatbird Finds. This is a soda jerk hat from the 60s or 70s. It says, have a Coke and a smile. Coke adds life. And that's, again, something skinny that adds a lot of height. This piece is neat. This is for White King soap. And it says, White King whitens whiter. And so you've got some really cool advertisements in here for White King soap. Some of these things have copyright dates. I think this is probably 40s or 50s. So I displayed it because I really like the White King soap graphics. So I put it on that side, but you could display it on this side. So, I mean, really the possibilities with this are endless. Here's another advertisement for the Coca-Cola bottling plant. This one is from the 40s because it's got the yellow Coke crate. And it says, welcome to your Coca-Cola bottling plant. Although what's interesting about this is even though it's got the, hi Jay, it's got the yellow Coke crate, which is older. If you look, it's got the fishtail paper cup. So maybe this is from the 60s then. But anyway, it's got some really cool graphics inside. And this is something you could display like this if you wanted to, and then stick something down inside of it. Because the graphics, I mean, you could display this on all sides. So it's just kind of deciding what you like and what you want to display and how you want to do it. And then just kind of keep tucking things in. Here's, I can't show that piece of ephemera. Patrick will get demonetized. I have a saucy piece of ephemera in there. Here's an interesting, it's Hoth Point automatic timer. He's a little creepy, I will admit, but the graphics are cool. And there's the electric timer. So that's a fun piece. Oh, Patrick, remember this? Ideal Mate. Ideal Mate. Yep, from Patrick's sale is in here. And playing cards are great too, because you can use these more towards the front when you need something little or small to tuck into your ephemera bowl. I've even got this. This came with the Brownie camera, Eastman Kodak Company. And this is a kind of a thicker booklet with the Brownie cameras. So it's got some really incredible graphics in here for the Brownie cameras. So I've got that tucked in there. And green stamps are great too. Here's a little advertisement for green stamps, because these are nice, cool graphics on the inside. Good Housekeeping green stamps. Trying to hide the saucy card here. Some cool graphics from Patrick's sale. He had these little Deutschen Post stamps. So all kinds of things are great in here. And I love putting in decks of cards, like the thumbs up for trunk down. So that's really fun. This is just a cool bowl. Great way to display things. And then when you get larger booklets in the back, they add some height and more stability. Here's a great commercial photography journal from 1940. Patrick had this also in his sale. This was just really cool. And I know I've put, this is awesome as well. This is a piece from, let's see if I can pull it out here. Where did it go? It disappeared. It fell down in here. That sometimes happens with things. This is a Bridge Digest souvenir piece from Coca-Cola. And it says it's so easy when you have frosty bottles of Coke in your refrigerator. And then on the inside, it's got all these recipes and then how to play bridge. And then you've got all the graphics for Coca-Cola. And they all change on each of the pages. So this is a pretty cool little booklet as well. And then to add more height and dimension to things, I've added this diary here, this everyday diary. This is from, it's got some amazing graphics in it, 1938. And so this kind of adds some stability because it's heavy and it's thick. And I really put it in the middle to add lift. So I'm going to show this now so you guys can kind of see. And I've been pulling things out, so it probably will not look exactly the same, but I'll get it rearranged. But you can see how I've tucked this in the middle to kind of add a little bit more lift and height where I felt like it needed it.
They asked, and I don't know if I missed it, she asked if that was the Coke hat that you were wearing last night. Is that stored in the bowl?
No, actually, that's a different hat. So
Okay.
I have that hat, and then I have a 1950s hat, and that one is stored on my ladder with all of my advertising pins. I think I've shared that on Instagram. But that's a little tour of the bowl, some of my fun pieces.
All right. I desperately want to tape these things down, but I know I will not do that because that will damage them. But I've been busy.
Oh, cool, Patrick.
So what I did, and you can't really see it, but I did put the money in there, and I put it loose because the bottom, you can see how small the bottom is. So the tin really didn't want to sit in there because it was just too big. So I took the money out of the tin, and so it's just kind of sitting in there loose. Unfortunately, it's not all that easy to see. And I guess like maybe the side inadvertent benefit of doing it the way I did it, because the bowl wraps, unlike Katie's, it's kind of propping itself upright all by itself because I put that magazine in the back, and because it had to curl around the sides, it's basically keeping it upright. So what I was able to do, so I just draped some of the money over the edge. I grabbed the ones that were already creased, so I wasn't folding any of the money itself. Like, it's just money, is real currency, but still I wanted to look nice. I was able, I'm not gonna be able to show it, but to get some height, I have from my trip to New York from 2 years ago, one of the friends that I went with, she got everybody New York City flasks. So it's a very non-vintage flask sitting in the bottom, but you can't see it. And that's what's propping up my passport. So the passport is, a little bit higher. Tucked into the back is a set of theater coupons that Katie sent me as friend mail. So that had been in my theater collection, but I popped it in here because I thought they were a nice size, and so many other things were going vertical that was horizontal. I have a tiny, tiny flasher badge, lenticular badge, Peace Through Understanding, that's got a globe on it. So that's part of my globe collection. So I'm just tucking that actually into the little coupon book that she gave. I moved some of the currency and kind of propped it up, put, you know, a couple of the postcards in there. And I repeat, if somebody were to touch this, I would body tackle them and not allow. This is going to go on display. I feel it should be on a pedestal under glass, because this, first of all, is barely holding itself together. So I'm going to have to play around with it a little bit more. But, you know, for my first time out, I'm pretty happy with it. And it actually showed a lot more than I thought it would. I mean, I grabbed so much stuff that I'm like, well, I was never going to be able to show all of it. And actually, it's holding quite a bit. So I'm actually pretty happy with it. So Lisa Day, so she can't wait to try it. So that's awesome. Peterson gives her thumbs of support. Michelle likes it. And there you go. It's like Angela's got it. It's like a junk drawer in a good way. So you can, you can build your a visual junk drawer. Oh, we got Scott in the house. Hey, Scott, real curiosity shop.
And yes, yours looks awesome, Patrick.
Dawn is giving me thumbs of support. Deb, good. Okay, so I mean, everyone's giving me positive vibes. I need those. I have a very low self-esteem, so appreciate that. And like some of the tips that Katie gave, I was able to use. One of the things, and so this is the other question. You were showing a lot of this stuff. So the flask, which you really can't see, that clearly is not metal. I did put this in. Do you have anything in yours that is not paper? This is one of my favorite bronze medallions, and there's really no place for it to go. It just kind of sits in a curio cabinet. And I'm not even sure, it's not necessarily that old, but I just love the deco look to it. Picked that up on my honeymoon cruise. So, you know, lasted longer than my marriage. And so I just kind of like propped that. You can kind of see it. I just like, but do you have anything non-paper in yours?
I do. So let me show you in the back where I've got that stored. So I showed you already, I've got the record coasters.
Oh, right.
But let me pull this little piece out so you can see it better. This is very beat up, very worn, but these are the pieces that my great-grandfather's glasses would have come in. And I mean, this has, you know, been to, I mean, it's fallen apart. This is just really cool and extra special because I've got a picture of my great-grandfather near the Ephemera Bowl with the glasses. So I think that's really fun. And this piece just lives in there. And then I've got the record coasters from Patrick as well, which I think is just so cool. So it holds all of the record coasters. I've got some already on my table. But I think this is really, really a fun little extra touch. Because in the back, even though this faces, you know, this is facing my sofa, when you turn it around, you still want to be able to see some things. And so I thought that would be kind of cool, as you can still kind of see the backs of some of the maps. That's why they're in the back. And then you can see more of that fun stuff. And I should add some coins or things to the bottom. I think that would be awesome.
So since you said it, I don't think mine looks all that great from the back. Of course, neither do I. So it's because the magazine takes up so much. The magazine takes up so much of the back. You're not seeing as much of the other stuff. But I mean, where I'm going to be putting this, you won't be able to see the back. This will go in the. This will go on my dresser, so the back will be up against the wall. So I'm less worried about that. So yeah, at this point, it's pretty much it'll look good at my theme. Technically, the magazine does not fit the theme. You know, there's a couple things that are drifting a little bit. But it was kind of it came together. And because really I was just kind of walking around my house because I do have all this ephemera, like the money literally sits in, what is this? Yeah, this is probably vintage. It sits in a traveler's check pouch. And it just sits in a drawer. Like they're all sitting in here. It just sits in a drawer. You don't see it. I do actually have, there's one I think I might have showed it in one of my videos. I have just the way my master bedroom is done. There's like a weird angled wall, and there's a part of it that's only about 7 inches wide. And I actually put an entire like ceiling to the chair rail is one piece of currency, just stacked on top of each other. So it's not framed or anything. It's literally just like I'm in college again. I just put a little putty up there and just hung up. But it looks cool because it's very colorful. It's clearly matches the theme. So that's like where the display money was. And so the rest of it was just sitting in this little folder. So I wanted to pull that out. I had tons of postcards that again really weren't shown anywhere. They were just kind of sitting in a stack. So I got a few of those. The photo of me in front of the pyramid, that was in a frame. So like that had been on display, but it was like one of the only framed pictures in my room. And it was one of those, like, it's a picture of me, which I always thought was weird. So I think it looks better in the Ephemera Bowl. So pretty happy. It's pretty happy about it.
Great, Patrick. And
one of the people what'd you say?
You could add elements to it. I just pulled my great-grandfather's glasses off of my table so you guys can see what was in that case. This is a picture of him with the glasses. These are the exact same.
Oh, awesome.
Which is just very cool. But if you wanted to do something like that, because these have, thin wire, they really would be something that if I wanted to crop them up in the bowl like this, they would look pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you could do a lot with that. I've never thought about playing with the 3D elements, but that is awesome.
Now, one of the questions, and now of course I can't find it because one, I didn't get to say hi to him. So hello to Sean from Skunky Junk.
Hi, Sean.
And so he was asking, so at this point, you do not do seasonal bowls. But
I don't.
That question did come up. But so he had a comment and he said he needs a bigger house. So the reason I'm pulling up his comment, because he was right after Dawn saying we need to do a show and tell. Sean has been, I don't know if necessarily Sean is the instigator behind it, but he does a lot of the tiered tray displays. So if you don't follow Sean, Skunky Junk is the name of his YouTube channel. He also does some sales, but he does haul videos, and he also does these design trays. And then sometimes his sale videos are actually selling this stuff from the trays. And I got some great 4th of July stuff from him, from his 4th of July trays. Is there people in the chat? I have never gotten into the tiered tray thing. I do not know why. Like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. I guess let's start things off. I don't have a tiered tray. And so it's one of those that I really wouldn't have a way of doing one. I could probably find one. Sean's is a very tall tray, but they're very, I think they're very narrow tiers. And then I've seen some on Instagram where like the bottom tier is like a freaking hubcap, and then or garbage can lid, and then you like work your way up. So in some cases they're just massive. So I think Jay was saying too that he was trying to do some stuff with scrapbooking, and maybe instead of a scrapbook, he could do a bowl. So for those of you who do the tiered trays, if you've never heard of an Ephemera Bowl, I would like to hear some comments about the differences. Obviously in a tiered tray, you could do more of the 3-dimensional stuff. And I would say personally, I would have way more 3-dimensional stuff than what I would find to go flat into this. But I do like the idea of like if you did do these seasonally, like a Christmas one, I think would be cool with like vintage Christmas cards.
Oh, yes.
A lot of stuff in there. I'm curious, but though I don't really know that many people that are doing. I know people do the trays. I just don't know who's really doing them other than Sean. So I'd be curious if Sean's still here. Okay, he said so. He's saying he can display a lot more stuff in a smaller space. So he does the trays because you're right. You are going vertical.
Yeah.
Chelsea is saying that she does 3. So 3. Oh no. So 3, sometimes 4 tiered trays. I thought you meant you did like 4 separate tiered trays. So you're saying in some cases you do a 4 tiered
tray. I've never seen those.
Yeah, I was gonna say that'd be pretty tall. So
now I don't have a tiered tray, but I do have an old antique apothecary scale, French scale. I shared this on my Instagram recently, but I use the little scale bowls to stack up some of my vintage depression glass. So that is a way that I kind of do a stacked display, but I don't really have a tiered tray.
Okay. And I'm trying to remember, I think Sean's are 3 tiers. I want to say he's got the base tier, And I think there's just two above it. But again, I want to say his are all fairly narrow. So I don't know if that's by design, Sean. Are you just like, do you have a small table that you're putting it on? And I'm curious for Michelle, when you're saying 4.
She
Oh
does
no, you are saying 4
individual trays.
Okay. So I'm assuming then they're themed. Are they grouped together, or are they like one in each room?
That would be interesting to know.
So 3 up is what Sean is doing. So he has a total of 3. Now, so I'm more curious, and I'm also Michelle. I don't know if you've seen Sean's, and Sean's if you've seen Michelle. Michelle, meet Sean. Sean, meet Michelle. I don't know if there's rules beyond for this kind of stuff. Like, is a tiered tray? I'm sure you can do whatever you want, but what's more common? The size that Sean has, the really compact one, or like, I'm not kidding. Like, there was one that put on the dining room table, and the base tray was almost the size of the width of the table. So Sean is saying his are tall and skinny because he has limited space, but he does have a green one that's only 2 tiers. Okay. Newton is saying that 3 levels are what's common. And I would say, I think I once upon a time had a 2-tiered tray and I sold it. I don't think I've ever come across
I've never had one or seen one.
I was gonna say, I'm almost positive I've never sold a 3. And I think the 2-tiered one was like a Chromex tray. And the problem with that, because this is the other thing, I haven't paid that close of attention. I apologize, Michelle, I haven't seen yours. I want to say that your tiers are extremely flat. Like they're like cake plates or cake stands that then have a tier that comes out of it. The Chromex one were like bowls. I mean, not like total bowls, but they were shallow. Like it was more like they were to hold candy. So I don't even think you could turn that into a tiered tray. If you try to put a figurine, it'd like tip over. It'd be like your drunken tiered tray. So she's saying 3 is common. So Sandra Smith is saying seasonal tiered trays displayed in the kitchen and the dining room. Okay. So Dawn's asking, are the trays themselves vintage? So Sean said something about one of his trays was vintage. I
haven't seen a lot of them that are vintage. I've seen more of people taking like cake plates and gluing them together. So there might be vintage elements in it, but the trays themselves aren't. I've also seen people getting ones from Hobby Lobby.
That's exactly what Michelle just said. So she got one from Hobby Lobby. Oh, so she had her husband, Mr. Handyman, made some. Oh, but then she has 2 that are vintage. So Sean, the one that you have, the taller one that's super flat, is that actually a vintage one, or is that a more modern one? I'm trying to think. It was black, but I don't remember noticing enough to know if it was vintage. So Cheryl from Vintage Loving Nerd. So she's using a Chromex. I don't think I've ever had a Chromex that wasn't rounded.
Yeah.
Like, there might be some level of it that's flat. Like maybe the biggest one might have had some flat surface area, but as you go up, you would end up like, it would basically like, here's my cotton ball collection, and that'd be it. Like, what else are you going to put there?
The Chromex tray I bought from you, Patrick, for a serving tray is curved on the sides too. So I've never seen a flat one. That's very cool.
Yeah. Okay, so the 3-tiered one is vintage looking. Oh, he got it from Amazon. Okay, so that's good to know that they're available. Because his is because he was saying he has a size limitation. I do not ever want to imply that, Sean's are small, but he has the size limitation of his tray. It holds a lot. He can cram a lot in there, and again, because they're super flat, he can put like the higher stuff up against the riser piece between. I'm trying to remember, is it with a 3, do you still have a handle on the top, or is the top one just like a wedding cake topper? Like, is it just a flat surface?
Both.
Oh, you've seen both?
I've seen some with the handle, and then usually the ones I've been seeing as of late have like a rounded knob on the top that just kind of is like a decorative finial.
So it's more decorative. So, because I like the idea of the trays, I thought originally the idea of the trays was like you would carry that somewhere to like have sandwiches or whatever. But is that not what these are for?
Well, I think originally that's what they're for, is for you to use things in a serving setting, or to have like sandwiches or little brownies or cakes. But I think people are just sort of turning them into the display thing, because as Sean was pointing out, people that have limited space you can get a lot on one of the larger,
Right.
size trays. And I see Sandra, she's saying, I like the industrial ones from salvage stores. And those are very cool. I think that would be more my alley if I ever did a tiered tray.
I am not here. I've not heard of Harbor Freight. Is that a modern thing? Is that like a IKEA, Walmart?
Harbor Freight is a modern tool store. They sell things really, really inexpensively. They don't carry any name brand things. They often run sales for like $2 or $3. And in my opinion, there's a lot of good stuff there, but from a woodworker's perspective, their tools are not well made. So within like a month, they die. Yes, you can get a jackhammer or an industrial scroll saw for like $12, but it's not going to last.
So Sean is saying that he'd like one that rotates, and Michelle said the same thing that I was thinking, is that, yeah, you could find, even if it's a modern one, you could find one of those, a Lazy Susan, again, just like a flat stand. And, hopefully you get one that's color coordinated so you'd be able to spin it. Cause that would be nice, but I would think you'd start running into the same problem, with this, like, I guess if it's turned slowly enough, it wouldn't fall. But, depending on how precariously everything is marked, you certainly start having the movements, do things start flying off of it. So yeah, everyone else seems to know what Harbor Freight is. I don't think I've ever heard of that. I would think so. Peterson is saying, a plant stand with movable arms. Oh, that'd be interesting.
That would be interesting.
If you could find, I was thinking of the ones, if you didn't have the handle, then that top platform would actually be like a full-fledged thing. You could just put everything on it, where if you still have a handle or a finial, you're still working around, like nothing can be deeper than the radius of the top stand, the piece. So, Jay said he used to actually work there. Yes, the tools do not last.
Yeah,
built-in obsolescence.
If you're buying rope or like lumber pencils there, or like some of their smaller items, for the price, it's absolutely fantastic, but I wouldn't recommend buying a tool from there. My dust collector died, and that was a whole thing.
Excellent. So it sounds like at least a couple other people were doing the tiered trays, but maybe they're not as common as I thought. I was seeing a lot of them, not necessarily within the vintage community, but just, as you're scrolling through YouTube or Instagram, they just pop up a lot. But it seems like, at least from this chat, there's not a lot of them in there. So for those of you who do, so Michelle and for Sean, what do you think about the idea of the bowl? It definitely I would say it probably wouldn't hold as much. At least it wouldn't hold as much big. I've got
a lot in there.
Quantity wise, I have a lot of different stuff, but if it weren't in the bowl, it'd probably be in a stack about that thick. It wouldn't take up much space. You just wouldn't be able to see it. Okay. I do not use Pinterest. So Newton is saying on Pinterest, they look of vintage tiered trays.
And if you follow the hashtag colorful vintage gals, or I think it's my colorful vintage gals, that's where I see a ton of the tiered trays. And I think it's pretty clever what people are doing. I've even seen people taking those wooden children's blocks and spelling things out on the tiered trays with them. And I just thought about that. But if you had an Ephemera Bowl, you could probably do a couple of those letters in the front there if you got them to set up, if you wanted to do something like that.
Well, and I'm thinking what Sean is saying about the Halloween bowl. This is the case. So I'm glad I did this, because it was just one of those like spur of the moment things that I wanted to do the bowl, and I thought it'd be fun to do it this way. But I did not realize that Katie did not. I just assumed she had like a flower frog or something in there that was holding this stuff in place. I had no idea it was gravity. It's like, I need to relearn my physics. But I'm thinking, like, if you did a Halloween one, and if you use like one of the vintage jack-o'-lantern trick-or-treat bowls, they'd be more like mine, where it's going to taper back up. If you didn't want to put it so it's anchored, if you found those little, what are the little clips called? Not the binder clips, but like the little pinchy clips, kind of like tweezers, little pinchy clips on a stand. They're modern, but if you got those little paperweight ones with the stick and held it up, you could put probably a dozen or 2 dozen of those in the middle of a Halloween trick-or-treating. And you could be holding a postcard, you could be holding a magazine ad, you could hold stuff, and it would just stick up, and you could even do it 3-dimensional. Like, you could have them all kind of doing it different.
That would be very cool. Yeah,
and then
another great idea, Patrick.
And so Newton is saying, yes, love the blocks. I have some that say Newton's cupboards. And so you could do and so a bowl seems like a good idea for mementos too. You could do like if all of the, I can't remember, I don't, are they alligator clips?
There's a name for them,
Yeah,
but
I mean, I'm sorry, the only name I can come up with is roach clip, and I'm pretty sure that's not right. So
I've heard photo holders, but that's really not.
yeah, and then if you did, that's what I thought the blocks were talking about, is you could put those up at different heights because you couldn't see through the trick or treat bowl. You know, it's like you wouldn't be able to see that those are all, so you could put stuff in there and have them at higher levels. I think that could be kind of fun. And I could see using the blocks, and I've seen Sean use the blocks on the trays because, you know, you can use them as little risers. And even some of the stuff I've sold, and I think Katie, you know, when she's had her sales, we'll even say, it's like, hey, something like this can be used great as a riser because it fits within the theme, but technically what it's going to do is push stuff from the back, push it up a little bit taller. So punch bowl repurpose. Oh, I do. I have a big punch bowl that and that one, it doesn't flare out, but it's straight up. So it'd be a little bit more along your lines. Mine is just limited because of the curving back end.
Sure, yeah.
Like if you just measure, I can't do it now. I would say if you just measure the diameter of this bowl, it's probably only like 7 inches. So everything is fitting in a really small, like of the opening. The bowl itself is probably 12, but the opening is really small.
And yes, a uranium mixing bowl, Jay, would be awesome.
Absolutely. So okay, so Pearson's also, I want to say alligator clip.
That's probably right, because they do look like the alligator mouth, you know, with the.
And it's like when you put it at the dentist, you get the little bib thing, the little holders, like that kind of thing. Because I think some people call those binder clips, like when you put paper together and you squeeze them. I think I've heard those called alligator clips too. So that's why I wasn't sure. So anyway, we stayed longer than I'd anticipated. I told Katie, oh, it won't be more than an hour. Well, hour 12.
We're both chatty. So.
Yeah, we're definitely both chatty. And hey, I ended up with my own Ephemera Bowl. So it actually worked. So Katie, the expert, showing how hers was done. So let's do Katie's wins, but let's do a side by side. Actually, let me get us back to the bigger.
Mine's a little bit, more.
That's the only way I have a chance of being better than yours, because yours fell apart while I put mine together. But yours just has a really nice, you have a very nice uniformity of like the flat lay. And yours looks really clean. Mine looks like I took 5 minutes to just shove a bunch of crap in a bowl. So I'm going to have to clean mine up a little bit, but I'm very happy with how it turned out. So.
Well, I will redo mine a little bit and maybe post a new Instagram photo. But this was fun, and yours looks great, Patrick. It really does. Thank you.
And everyone's saying they both look great. So everyone is giving both of us our self-esteem boosts for the day. So I appreciate all you guys hanging out. I know there's tons of stuff that goes on Sundays, and it's fine. Hopefully people, if you joined me live, great. If you didn't join us live and you're watching the replay, hopefully you had fun and you opened up the live chat so you can see what people were saying as we kind of went along. But appreciate everyone coming into the chat. And so what do you got going on this week, Katie?
So I've got a fun show and tell this Wednesday, which I'm very excited about. I'm going to have a special guest on showing her scrapbook collection. Catherine Young will be on. That's Wednesday at 9:30 Eastern. And then that's kind of a double feature because at 7 o'clock Eastern, I have my premiere on my YouTube channel, and I'll be sharing more of my brooch collection. So we'll be bringing back the brooch. So stay tuned for those two fun things. And if you've been following along, also on Mondays, I do my saucy reading novel. We've been reading a book called House of Flesh, and it's fun. It's from the 1950s. And so come on over at 7 o'clock and join us for a short 30-minute read. I usually read one chapter, and if you've missed that, you can go back and catch up on the other chapters, but it's getting really fun. So those are some things coming up on my channel.
Awesome. Basically this week, the only thing I've got 100% planned is, again, my live sales run Thursdays at 8 p.m. on my channel. So I will have another live sale this week. I've gotten out of the habit of filming and dropping videos as I go, and I'm just trying to get back into that. So I still have one, believe it or not. I still have a video that I recorded all the clips to it when I did that trip out to the East Coast for my daughter's graduation. So I still have one video I need to drop. It's a very niche video, which is why I've not rushed to put it up. But for those who follow my channel, I am an alum of Wittenberg University, and I actually visited Wittenberg on my way home on that trip. There it is in Springfield, Ohio. And so I filmed a lot of the buildings. The school was founded in 1845. Most of the buildings, a lot of the buildings are still 19th century buildings that are still standing. And so there's some cool history, but it's just a very niche, video. So I'm going to try it. I've been struggling to get it up to make it a broader appeal, but it is what it is. It's going to be a video of Wittenberg. I was going to do a haul video on the end, but ended up I recorded so many clips. The video itself is long enough because I do have a vintage Wittenberg collection, so that might show up in a show and like in a deep dive show and tell or a little video by itself. But so I'm hoping that'll get dropped this week. My goal, and then trying to drop some more videos. I did some great estate sale finds this week. Did my first YouTube short. I've never done a short on YouTube before. I had no idea what I was doing. I did my first reel/TikTok video on Instagram. That was a freaking pain. It took me forever. I was very happy with it. It's still not perfect, but I was very happy with it. So I'm trying a couple of different things just to see what's fun to do and what I can get out there. So there might be some other stuff that drops this week. But for now, make sure you catch Katie's saucy read tomorrow night. Her show and tell with Catherine Young on Wednesday, plus her brooch video. And then don't you do something on Fridays with your vinyl collection?
Yes, Friday I usually have a vinyl video drop. So this Friday will be a vinyl haul. I'll be sharing some of the vinyl I picked up recently, which I've gotten some more fun vinyl. So I'm excited about that.
And I will probably have some vinyl in possibly the live sale this week, because I've already asked Katie for her opinion on some children's vinyl that I picked up. So,
which is awesome, by the way, folks. So I
actually found a sealed speak and read package that has a little golden book in it, and it's still sealed. I think it was from the 50s or the 60s. So Katie even said she'd never seen one that was sealed before. So
yeah, it's awesome. So stay tuned for that, guys.
Yeah, so definitely. Thanks a lot for joining. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for putting your trust in Trusty Huckster. And you guys all have a great night and enjoy your week. Talk to y'all later.
Bye, friends.